God intended for you. The number again is 866 521 WELL. That's 866 521 WELL.
Okay, your mic's going up right now. The mic's up.
Welcome to your weekly checkup. This is Dr. Lazar, and super excited to be with you tonight. Talking about a really, really important topic, and it involves you and your family and your friends. And with everything going on this season, it's super important. So, this is going to be a great show, and we're excited for you. If this is your first time with us, I'm Dr. Lazar, and this is your weekly checkup. You can call anytime. Our number is 866-521-WELL, 866-521-9355. If you're joining us on social, thank you for joining us, and really, really excited to be with you. So this is it's an interesting season because it's darker now all of a sudden. And we feel differently when it's dark. We behave differently. We don't get nearly as much sunshine as we're used to getting. And as a result of that, we don't feel as empowered sometimes. We don't feel as excited or awake or energized. That struggle is real. So we're going to talk about that and talk about what can be done. Because if you're empowered, then you can do lots of great things. So that's what we're here for. We're going to explore how to live your healthiest life by taking care of your body's most important system, your nervous system. That's the big idea tonight. So we're going to dive into a topic that impacts millions of lives worldwide, and that topic is anxiety and depression. Now, you might think, hey, that's kind of weird hearing somebody talk about the nervous system and anxiety and depression, but it's not weird at all. These aren't just mental health issues. They're actually full body experiences that often have roots in the health of your nervous system. A lot of people don't know that. We'll discuss how upper cervical chiropractic care can be a powerful solution for managing anxiety and depression, and explore some of the best supplements we have to support mental health. We want you to be in the driver's seat, and that means you got to buckle up. Did you know that anxiety disorders affect over 40 million adults in the United States every year? That's a lot of people, friends. That's 18% of the population, and that's just what's reported. Depression, often called the silent epidemic, affects over 17 million adults annually. What's even more surprising than that is that many people with these conditions don't realize how much their physical health, especially the alignment of their head and where it meets the neck and the upper cervical spine, how much that can influence brain chemistry and these symptoms. It's a big deal. It's not something to be taken lightly. And you'll hear tonight as we go through the different statistics and things, you're going to hear how compelling it is and how you cannot overlook this area of your body, your spine, your upper cervical spine. You cannot overlook that and still be successful at it. You're gonna have a hard time, and it's futile, because when we are ignoring what's going on and or at best treating symptoms, the underlying problem is actually getting worse, and that's the part we don't want. So we've got solutions for you, things you can do that are going to make a difference. And don't go anywhere. We're going to be here taking your calls, answering your questions. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back right after this.
Do you constantly live
Welcome back to your weekly checkup. I'm Dr. Lazar, talking about anxiety and depression tonight. Not just talking about it, but actually what you can do about it. That's a big deal, because Harry S. Truman said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And it's important that, you know, if we're just resigned to it and say, hey, I think I'm stuck with this. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing that can be done. I'm just going to have to deal with this. This is the lot I've been given in life. Well, that may end up being true. But if we understand anxiety, depression, and the nervous system and how those work together, then you'll be empowered to make a difference. So we're going to talk about the connection between the nervous system and mental health, and why the upper cervical spine matters so much when it comes to anxiety and depression. The upper cervical spine houses and protects the brainstem. So that's up here just below the skull, just between the ears. And so it's like the command center for your nervous system. So if we get misalignments in the upper cervical spine or the neck area, that puts pressure on the brainstem and it disrupts communication between the brain and the body. That's a really, really important concept, because the disruption can lead to a chronic state of stress or sympathetic dominance. That's often associated with anxiety and depression. So a study published in the Journal of Upper Cervical Chiropractic Research in 2015 found that patients with depression experience significant symptomatic improvement after upper cervical care. Significant. And for that to be published in a study, that's a big deal. I mean, it's really, really significant if it's published in a study. Another study from BMC Psychiatry in 2021 highlights how vagus nerve function, cranial nerve 10, that we can directly influence with adjustments in the upper neck. That is, the vagus nerve is influenced by brainstem health, and that plays a critical role in regulating mood. On an earlier show earlier this season, we had Dr. Amy on for biology of trauma, and she talked about the vagus nerve and the polyvagal theory and how that's all intertwined. And so that's super important, because that connection is starting to become much louder. In fact, there are some companies talking about surgically implanting devices to stimulate the vagus nerve. Now, I don't like that approach, but I do agree that stimulating the vagus nerve is a huge, huge improvement. If you have questions on anxiety, depression, how what we're doing can massively help with that, our number is 866-521-WELL, 866-521-9355. Anxiety and depression affects a lot of people, and it's not something to be taken lightly, not something we want to overlook at all, because this is vitally important. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back right after this. Hey, this is Dr. Lazar from your weekly checkup on WMU. specifically the effect it has on anxiety and depression. So I want you to hear about upper cervical care in action. This is a big deal. I recently had a patient, we'll call her Sarah. She came in after struggling with anxiety for years. She had tried therapy, medication, every dietary change known to man, but she was still overwhelmed. After her first adjustment, she reported sleeping better that night, and within weeks, her anxiety attacks were much less frequent, which was awesome. In her case, by addressing her upper cervical misalignment, we helped her nervous system get out of that fight or flight state. That part is so common, and we think we have to deal with it, but we don't. When the upper cervical spine is aligned, it reduces pressure on your brainstem. That reduction in pressure will reduce blood flow, or the pressure will reduce blood flow. Getting the pressure off will improve the blood flow to the brain and balancing the autonomic nervous system. And then this balance is what helps reduce your cortisol levels. Cortisol is a stress hormone. That's what puts on belly fat, raises our blood pressure, makes us stressed out, feel brain fog. And when we take that pressure off the brainstem, that increases serotonin and dopamine production, which those are critical for mood regulation. Now, you do have serotonin production in the gut as well, but the gut is also under neurological control. So it's important that we address this, especially top down. And think about people who have had some sort of closed head injury, a traumatic brain injury, something like that, and their personality has changed after. That's not super weird. Like, we don't hear that and say, oh, there's no way that didn't happen. We say, oh, that's a bummer that happened. Well, you can still have concussions, accidents, injuries that throw the head off center. And even if it's not bad enough to cause brain damage, it still can be bad enough to put pressure on the brainstem. And that's the part that's overlooked. If you have an injury bad enough that causes brain damage, they're going to look for that and find that and do things to help you with that. It's when that comes back clear that people are in trouble, because they're not paying attention to what happens to their upper neck. We had a lady in recently who had fallen off a ladder and she hurt her arm, and she went to the emergency department for, I don't know, half a day, however long she was there. And they checked her elbow and made sure that, that was okay. And they checked her lungs to make sure she didn't puncture any ribs or break ribs and puncture her lungs or anything. So they went through all that, but they didn't check anything with her head or neck or anything like that. She was having some trouble. So we checked, and as it turns out, she had broken her neck. Now it wasn't, like it's stabilized now, and she'll be okay with it and stuff. But you never know. Just because we don't have a head injury doesn't mean there wasn't a problem. And so it's really important we get checked. We actually think that it's best to get checked on a regular basis, because you don't know necessarily what's going to happen. You can have all kinds of stuff that comes up and it doesn't bother you, and then it shows up later. And so it's a scary thought for sure. So we've got to make sure that where our head meets our neck, that pressure is off the brainstem. As we've discussed, that will help it be so that your body is not in a state of fight or flight. It's not stuck there. It's not, serotonin and dopamine levels aren't completely out of balance, and it ends up being a really, really big challenge if we leave these things alone. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I've got some supplements that I really like for this, and I'll give you some actionable steps. So we'll be back right after this.
We hope you find the information. Welcome back to your weekly checkup. I'm Dr. Lazar, talking about anxiety and depression. And if you have not experienced the power of upper cervical care, where we gently take the pressure off your brainstem and let your body function how it needs to get you out of that sympathetic dominant state, I'll tell you, you have no idea what you're missing. From personal experience and thousands of people over the years we've taken care of, this is one of the most powerful responses we've seen. Now, there are some supplements that I have that I really, really like. They have full efficacy guarantees, meaning if you're not getting results with them, you can return them. If you're taking them as ordered and you're not getting the results, you can return those. Like we're that serious about it. So if you're interested in any of these supplements I'm going to tell you about, you can give us a call, 866-521-WELL, 866-521-9355, or you can text the word anxiety, ANXIETY, if you're interested in this pack that we like the most for supplements. So there's one that we use. It's called Adrenal, and that supports adrenal health. It combats chronic stress and fatigue. It's got B vitamins, adaptogens like ashwagandha, some other stuff. It's really, really, really powerful and effective. And it's also bioavailable. None of these are ones you can get in stores. These are ones that we have sourced that we really like. There's another one that we like called Serenitin Plus, and it promotes relaxation. It creates stress resilience naturally in the body. Lactium is the key ingredient in that. It's a milk protein, and it calms the nervous system down, which is really cool. There are several, so we usually will talk with you and decide, what's best based on a conversation. Because some people are having a bunch of brain fog and they're worn out, and other people are having brain fog and anxiety and they're really ramped up. And so what we see with those are different. And so we would suggest different supplements based on what your exact situation is. Mood stasis, that's a really, really helpful one that supports serotonin and dopamine pathways for a much more balanced mood. That's really helpful. That's got 5-HTP in it, vitamin B6, saffron extract. That's big. Alpha Base Premier is really big. That's got iron in it. That's a comprehensive multivitamin that fills a lot of nutritional gaps that can exacerbate mood disorders. Another really good one is magnesium glycinate.
Now, you can get magnesium in a lot of places, and magnesium is important. It's essential for over 300 biomechanical reactions in the body, including mood regulation, and 80% of us are deficient in it. But I don't want you using just a regular over-the-counter store-bought magnesium, because the magnesium glycinate, we also have some different forms of magnesium, but ours are really, really bioavailable because they go through a mineral chelation process where your body can use it right away. And so you need a lot less of it. There was a study in the publication Nutrients in 2019 that showed that magnesium supplementation significantly reduced anxiety symptoms in adults, and that 5-HTP has been found to enhance serotonin production, directly improving mood. So that's really, really cool. Like, God made these plants, and if we use them correctly, we're able to honor what he's created by using what he's created in our bodies. If you're struggling with anxiety or depression, there are a few steps you can take today. So, most importantly, get your upper neck checked. We're in Ann Arbor. We can find places closer to you if you need, but you've got to get your upper spine checked. This is the foundation of nervous system health. If your head's not on straight, your brain and body aren't communicating properly, you're going to have a lot of trouble no matter what. Nothing else you do is going to be as effective. Also, incorporating the right supplements like those we discussed, those will help your body's natural healing process. Without that, you're going to have a hard time. Also, you can focus on lifestyle changes like regular exercise. That is so helpful. Guys, 15 minutes of exercise will change body chemistry. You know, more is better, but start with 15 minutes. Guided meditation is super helpful. We like the Calm app. We can get you a discount on that. And then a nutrient-dense diet, that's very big. Anyone listening who wants to get started with any of these supplements, we're offering an exclusive discount on these. So give us a call, visit our website, and you'll get 10% off your first order. Our number is 866-521-WELL, 866-521-9355. So we had somebody that sent us in their testimonial, and or not their testimony, the question, and it said, I've been on antidepressants for years. Can upper cervical care help me reduce my dependency on medication? And the answer is most likely, because we don't deal with depression because of anxiety or because of serotonin, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, the medications, the SSRIs. We're not deficient in those leading to anxiety or depression. Now we can have imbalances that are addressed with medication, but there's a lot of research done that even when people are, they're changing the levels of serotonin, depression doesn't always change from an antidepressant standpoint. So while we're not telling anybody to stop medication without your doctor's guidance, most of the people we take care of will report significant improvements that allow them to work with the rest of their team to come down off the medication. We see that all the time. Another question we got was, what's the best way to know if I have an upper cervical misalignment? That's a very good question. We use digital imaging to evaluate the alignment in our office, combined with neurological exams and posture analysis. So you can't tell for sure on your own without it being evaluated, but some quick things you can do are you can look in the mirror. If your ears aren't lined up, you don't actually have one ear lower than the other. That means that your head is tilted. That's a really good indicator that you've got pressure on the brainstem. If you're ready to take control of your mental health, call our office today, schedule your complimentary consultation. That's normally $224. It's a complimentary consultation. And if you're hearing this show before December 15th, we're doing a toy drive. You can bring in a new unwrapped toy for your new patient visit. And our examination and x-rays, if if we do those, that costs $508. It's well worth it. Even when we waive the $224 consultation, the nerve scans and x-rays are $508. You can't get this anywhere else. And we're gifting that to you if you bring in a new unwrapped toy before your appointment, or for your appointment that's before December 15th. We will waive that entire assessment fee, and you'll get a 2-day visit with us. The first day we'll do nerve scan, posture check, x-rays. The second day we'll go over all those findings with you, and then we'll get you adjusted on that second visit as long as it's safe to do so. That first visit and the report that we go over with you, it's a 17-page written report about everything we found. It's the most thorough you'll ever see. $508 is completely yours if you schedule and bring in a toy before December 15th for our toy drive. We want to give kiddos toys for Christmas. We know that's not what Christmas is about, but we like meeting kiddos where they are. And so we'll give these toys to kids that don't have, wouldn't have toys. And our goal is to raise 1,000 toys. So whether you're interested in the care or not, if you're willing to donate toys or cash and we can buy the toys for you, we would absolutely be super grateful to help some more kids have a great Christmas. So anyway, we gift that to you, and we'll create a plan that works for your unique needs. As a special thank you for listening, the initial evaluation is through December 15th. If you bring in the toy, is absolutely no charge to you. That will be for the first 10 callers that do that. And then you'll receive 10% off any of the products that we're talking about with that. So lots to learn. We love it. We want to empower you as you go into this season. Thank you for tuning into your weekly checkup. Remember, health starts with your nervous system, and we can't wait to see you next week. On behalf of our teams in Ann Arbor and at WMUZ, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Dr. Lazar, and we'll be back with you next week. God bless.
Okay.